And it's up to us to keep it that way. Alright, time to show those clankers Kamino's not big on uninvited guests. Rally up, troops. One guess who gets to kick those metal screwheads back into orbit. With you, trooper.
All right. Hello there, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 holiday edition of the Empire at War Expanded Holiday Con. I am Corey, joined by a plethora of other devs from the Empire at War Expanded team. And today we're going to be going over a lot of the stuff that we've been working on for the last, 6 months since the anniversary stream in June or July. I forget when the anniversary is. But say hello, everyone, all at once, ideally, so we can really get all the talking over each other started early.
Hello. 1, 2, 3, go.
Hello.
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 This is gonna go well.
There you go.
Hello.
Oh yeah.
It always goes well.
I'll get the talking stick out or something. We have a Discord stage for next time, because either way. So that first thing you guys just saw was one of 7 mission intros / cinematics that we're going to be looking at today, along with a bunch of other content. Leo / Joel, whichever you want to be right now. Any stuff you want to say about the missions to get us started?
Today I feel like a Joel. Tomorrow I'm Leo again. What you just saw was the Battle of Kamino. It's technically was a plan for the last update, but being lazy is a thing, and we are it often. So it's finally the showdown for the remote GC, and there's still a lot of other cool stuff coming up. Vic, do you want to present your stuff?
Oh, I don't know if mine's actually up for this. Is it part of the? Because I think I was leaving that one because it's not quite polished to completion.
For mission previews?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I got any videos from you.
No. I think I think I'm leaving mine off. It'll show up at some point, but
yeah. So a lot of
after you.
Well, so Fall of the Republic got a lot of missions in the prior version. It's still getting a few more right now. The big focus is going to be on Fall of the Republic, and Revan's Revenge is going to launch with a few things that we've got at least one preview for today. And then Thrawn's Revenge isn't going to get a ton of mission focus right now. That'll be for the future. So if there's anything in that context you would like to jump off on, back to you.
Thanks. Yeah, Thrawn's Revenge is still the sad child who doesn't get any attention, but
wow,
we're working on it. I mean,
yeah,
it still gets a lot of cool stuff, but nothing.
It gets literally everything else.
But missions.
Yeah, but people still complain.
People will
Everything
always
we do is wrong.
No missions, but a few GC reworks that we can talk about later.
Okay, we get to see the arguments in the comment section over which Kamino battle that is.
Well, there's another Kamino battle coming up.
Yes.
I mean, it's fun because it's neither one of those people expect. It's literally the Battlefront one, because that was the only audio I could get.
Well, since we're kind of talking about it right now, the maps going around in the background are some of the ones that Keelhaul has been doing since the anniversary stream in June. And Keelhaul actually does stream some of the creation of this. So if you want to get a plug in before I move over to the Galactic Conquest maps that we're kind of talking about.
If you want, my channel's called Keelhaul's Mapping. So
you can spam the link in the chat as well.
I could, yes.
Are you sick too? What the hell is wrong with everyone?
I'm very sick, yeah.
Jesus.
Somehow, some way, I am not sick at the moment.
Oh, the one showing Gold Temple. This is a little fun fact. That gold texture is made from the sky smog texture, because nothing else would shine like gold except smog. I'm not even joking. I tried so many textures, and literally only the skybox for smog would shine like gold. So, I don't know what the lesson is there.
Constructed with pollution.
Well, I think we now know how you got sick.
I feel like there's a lesson there, but I don't know what it is. I am currently streaming Cymirth, which should be up right now. So if you want to watch that, I mean, not like this second, but do what you want. I'm not your dad.
Right.
It's a good channel. You should check it out.
Oh, and because I feel like I probably will get comments on it in a second, I think it's the very next one. Vijun, you're going to see forests in Vijun. Everything you know about Vijun is a lie. It is not a dead planet. It's not completely empty. It actually does have forests and things. People just played only Jedi Academy and then wrote the wiki page without checking any other source. And I deleted so many wrong claims on Wikipedia that were unsourced. So you're welcome.
Wikipedia would never be wrong. That's insane.
I know, that's unspeakable.
All right, so we'll probably come back to these maps looping through in a bit, but just to get to the Galactic Conquest that we're talking about as well. So yeah, like the Thrawn's Revenge maps have needed some upkeep for a while, and Slorny did a bunch of planet repositioning across all the mods, because all the mods use the same planet set. So we have, like, the way Empire at War works, planets are their own objects with their own inherent coordinates. So when you're creating a Galactic Conquest map, you're placing that object on the map rather than like going into a map editor and moving planets wherever you want it for that campaign. So when those planets get moved, that can cause a lot of weirdness for the pre-existing trade routes. So there will be more focus on them adding a bunch more story and getting a proper overhaul of the Thrawn's Revenge historical maps. But there's 5 or 6 here that have received a lot of attention, especially from Mord. If you want to say anything about that.
Yeah, NMS and Rhino mostly overhauled the planet selection and trade routes and did a fantastic job. I added a little bit of polish and character to story events. No missions, as said earlier, so if you're a tactical mission lover, you'll be a little disappointed. But little dialogues, a few fun things. Especially happy with how Shadowhand turned out, as well as Camus. There are still a few details outstanding regarding Camus, but I think for those of you who've always wondered why the mod is called Thrawn's Revenge, you may be pleasantly surprised.
I've always wondered that, so that's going to be good for me. The real reason is probably less interesting for people, so we're going to just go with whatever you've come up with then. Because it was supposed to be... We came up with Thrawn's Revenge when I was 14, and like I started the mod with 2 other people who aren't around anymore. And when we were deciding the names, this is what we came up with before we had to go eat dinner, and we were going to change it after dinner, but now it's many dinners later, and it hasn't happened yet. So this is, I think we've gone through all of them on the video already. I did slow down the video a little bit from what NMS sent me. So it's also labeled. So a lot of those maps should be cleaner. NMS, if you want to... I think you said something?
Oh, yeah. No, I said to cope for the speed. No, the maps are a lot nicer now, I think. At least better than they were. And hopefully they're a more enjoyable experience to play. Try to keep things pretty slick here for the most part. FIP in particular turned out pretty good, I think. Have a nice little core NR and mid-rim up to the outer rim of the Empire and deep core. And yeah, just hopefully a better experience to play. Jort did Ice Word's Revenge, though. I can't take credit for that one.
I did do a preview stream of Reunification. There's been some changes since that as well. So hopefully I'll be able to put something out looking at some more of these in a bit more depth before release, which there will not be any surprise release dates announced at the end of the stream. I think some people expect that sometimes for no reason. So it's not... That isn't me teasing that it's actually going to happen either. So just don't lower your hopes.
Corey, anything you say is going to have the opposite effect at this point.
That's my experience using Twitter, yes.
Can you confirm the mod's not coming out in 2023?
I mean, anything can happen. Like, we're definitely releasing Revan's Revenge tomorrow, right? Like, we already announced that? Or am I leaking that?
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
It's
Yeah.
technically playable.
So there's
Tomorrow we're gonna get a bunch of comments.
Corey sent on the stream. No. Okay, I disavow everything that was just said. That was Banger Nation. Once again, I have let you down. I never thought I'd have to make this video, but I want to apologize for my prior comments. The mod will not be releasing tomorrow. But yeah, so there will eventually be the story missions on this, but on these maps rather. So one of the things that's going to happen when we're doing a full in-depth overhaul of all the historicals in Thrawn's Revenge is we're going to be deciding which maps should be historical maps in the first place. Some of them will be turned into kind of the regional maps that we have. They're like era progressive, era selection based. So, for example, Stars Align is probably not going to survive that process, whereas some other things may get added in that process. There's another map that Jorrit has actually been working on for Thrawn's Revenge for this release. Is Jorrit here? I don't think Jorrit's here right now, so I will leave that to the side for now. But yeah, so anything anyone else wants to say about missions and Galactic Conquests on that note before we go to another mission?
A few things. Like Vic also joined the team this cycle just so we have more people who can do the stuff. So Thrawn's Revenge should get it definitely soon, TM.
Yeah.
And like the GC layouts being redone is also helpful because now a bit of prep work is done. It likely will still change in a few cases, like alluded to by Corey, because we have to actually decide what and what fits more as a historical and what's a regional.
Yeah, no,
Especially
exactly.
for stuff like, I think Stars Align is often tossed around as one because there's like literally everything happen up there.
Well, and I would say, like, it's not a bad thing that it's getting switched over to regional. In fact, I think it'll actually be helpful with giving it more of an identity.
Well, it's funny because when I revamped it like 3 patches ago, I specifically tried to make it all in one region and like cut out some stuff. So I guess I was trying to make it a regional without thinking about it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the things you were cutting were these excessively long trade routes halfway across the map.
Hast was in it, and Hast is next to Mon Calamari.
Yeah. No, but like, I don't know. I've always thought like this is just one thing that I idly thought about, but like the Thrawn era version of that would be fun as like an NR themed thing because you have like a Generis and like that whole sector force there, which is somewhat relevant. So like there's fun things you can do with it as like an era progressive that you can't do with it currently as a historical.
Yeah. And we likely also in that train need to decide what's important for playing the storyline and having the GC to account for it. So it's not like you walk down a line and are like the FOC campaign, which is fun once and then never again. Because
never again, yeah.
I think Mort, you once described it as being a 5-year-old child and getting led along by a parent, and I feel this description
it's pretty
fits
accurate.
perfectly.
Yeah, that sounds like the kind of thing I would say.
One of the hopes in that category is to also put some of the tactical missions into the historical battles menu, so you can just launch into some of the missions directly. So that's part of what that menu exists for. But the we have more strict, not necessarily strict, but we have better categorization of maps now than we did before, where it was either progressive or historical. So there was a lot of stuff that kind of fit between those categories, which is what the regionals kind of are now, that didn't really make sense. So like Stars Align being a historical campaign while not necessarily representing a particular historical campaign made it kind of a weird fit. And there are a few others like that, like the old Into the Cluster map for the Hapens, because typically we wanted to have a map that existed to make sure that like each new faction or each faction was able to have a smaller map it could play rather than have to play like the biggest maps around. Like when the CSA was made playable, the corporate acquisitions map was added, because without that, I think the like large progressives were some of the only places you could play them, because they weren't on every progressive either.
They were on Hunt for Zinj as well, but I
Right.
think that's
Yeah.
Which itself is gone now. That
Ooh,
will come back.
Yeah, about that.
That was
I know that's
a crash situation.
yeah.
Got messy when the Havens
Unfortunately.
got added. But
Stars Aligned was a weird one in general because like the Empire is in Era 2, but the New Republic and the PA are in Era 1, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really match anything.
yeah, it's like one of the oldest maps. So that Stars Align, and especially the Thrawn campaign, the back end coding for that are probably the biggest messes, because it's like 3 iterations of how we've done the Galactic framework coding. And so some of that getting updated while these map reworks have happened over 0.4 has been really useful and will continue to be useful. But again, it's another thing that you should expect to see a few more changes in going forward, and something that'll get a lot more attention, especially in hopefully 0.5.
For reference, the last time we complained about how the plot loading is set up because it's such a mess was like 2 hours ago by Bob. So messy it is.
Yeah, and so a good chunk of what happens in any given release is stuff that you'll never notice, because it's just recoding things that are in the background and hoping to end up with the same result.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I've done in the last couple months has been go back through and change the coding for how the like the sub-faction integration or sub-faction opinions work for the CIS, for the Republic with the Senate approval, and for the Hapens with the House favor, where before those were like bespoke Lua systems for everything that were kind of doing similar things. And the ship markets is something that Joel and I were working on as well, where now those work off of like a core set of code that just has extra data on top of that. And those kinds of optimizations make the game run better, make it a lot easier for us to work with and add stuff going into the future. But they're not things that you'll necessarily see the results of in game, because, again, we're trying to just find more efficient ways to do the exact same thing. And a lot of that applies to some of the changes that are going on with the maps in the background here as well.
Speaking of things behind the scenes, there was like 1,400 trade routes that just didn't exist on any maps. So,
But they could. You have to be ready for them, you know?
they're gone. They don't exist.
They're dead, Jim.
Deleted.
Rip.
Yeah, like
Reduced to atoms.
we use an editor tool for making the Galactic Conquest now, rather than sitting in XML and making a bunch of lists. And it also lets you just like right click to make the trade routes, which is very handy.
Yeah.
But even planet coding is something we never edit the planet XML file, or some people do, but it just goes away if they do, because it's actually based off of a spreadsheet that just outputs all the planet information. So one of the things that kind of gets floated around every so often is making making like per mod versions of that to optimize the amount of the XML objects that are in each mod, just to make sure that it's not like 600 planets that are never going to be used in Revan's Revenge just ending up in Revan's Revenge. But yeah, so that's just the kind of thing that we are always doing, and that you don't really see unless you're a sub-modder, maybe.
I was gonna say, I feel like the favor stuff especially, I can already hear the cheers of sub-modders.
Yeah, like the way the favor works now and the ship markets work now, if you want to implement something like that, you don't need to recode the ship market anymore. It's just a Lua table that I set up where you put basically the faction name, the name of the market you want to have, or the name of the sub-faction influence you want to have, and then you put in the rewards. It's a lot more straightforward and a lot easier to set up.
It's like... I just think of all the time that I spent like literally just reskinning ship markets for stuff, and I'm like, wow.
Corporate alliance prep, clearly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it just makes it so much easier for us to rearrange that data, to add or remove new functions to it, and it's all fantastic.
Like it opens up.
But staying on, since we did allude to the historical battles menu, that's another thing that leads to other game modes. And holy shit, the fuck was that?
You're right.
What was that? What was that?
What
That
the
was
fuck?
Oz's
Time you said
question.
rogue.
Oh,
Is
excuse
that
me.
Oz's mic swacking? Or...
Yes.
I'm here.
Ah,
There.
way to make an introduction.
Sorry,
Oh no.
Let's not.
Oh, no.
Let's
Oh,
not do some.
please not. Please
no
not.
soundboard spam on the server.
All right.
Don't tempt me, please.
Rhino's been doing other stuff. There's we have the survival mode has had some updates. I'm going to put the video on for that. Rhino, if you want to say anything about that when that shows up on the screen. And oh, it's still big. I made it too big. There, it's smaller.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, so just with all the extra factions being added, especially in Thrawn's Revenge, I asked Leo just to set up a nice load into GC thing so you can select the faction. The description's also been added. People can pause to read that. And yeah, it's just an easy way just to load in with all the bunch of factions. There's just a load in that list. I think the rosters got changed. Yeah, I changed up a few on the rosters to add the new units, and that's a secondary thing for extra units. So every faction has something. The 1 credit starbase is just for testing. Please ignore that. It will have proper values when it's ready. I just wanted to get through and show off the rosters real quick. Thrawn's Revenge versions, all the Empire factions have a Dark Empire upgrade, which unlocks all the Dark Empire ships. NR, I think I put in... what's it called? Oh, New Class. That's it, New Class modernization thing. I think that's an upgrade, or it might just be a swap when the station upgrades. Oh, and then there's also the Fractal submod for Empire as well, which I think is in this. And yeah, Huts got added, and all the other factions got added.
You also added the ability to make turrets.
Oh yeah, right, turrets and defensive stations. Thank you, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Those the skirmish ones or the historical ones?
Those are skirmish ones, but under survival names. They're properly coded. That's your question.
This will be a day long remembered.
The other big thing that
I
does
hate
still
you.
need to happen with survival at some point is I'm going to change the way the
Redo how
waves
the
get
spawners
generated.
work.
So, because right now it's basically you play, you get to wave 12 or 13, and then you lose. And you do get to that wave, and then you do lose. So there will be like the changes to how the economy and spawning works. There is a fairly big design element to still be done, but it's not the highest priority as far as mod stuff goes right now. So I don't think that's likely to be a 0.4 change, but we'll see when we get to it.
Yeah, I've just added all the units to the spawner list, so it won't just be NR and Empire stuff spawning. The B version for Republic is the Victory Fleet VSD. I thought, why not just have it in survival? It'll only be used in a few places anyway, so.
So we are going to take a look at another mission or two, maybe two, because there's still 6 more missions to go through.
But before that,
oh.
there's the other video by Rhino from Instant Action.
Yep, we'll get to that. We've gone through like half of what I have on this the main setting here, and only one of the 7 missions. So I'm going to try to intersperse it a little bit better than I've been doing. But we'll come back and we'll take a look at that. So you aren't going to hear us for a couple minutes.
Attack formation Echo 3.
Status.
Deflector shields raised. Destroyers in position. Forward cannons ready. Landing craft prepared.
All ships are in position.
Commence attack.
All right, so that I think was the first hut mission, I guess, for the second one. But
Yeah.
Leo, Joel?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is the intro mission for the Rimwatch GC because the huts are there and giving something is nice, and this is the best we could come up with. Before you guys complain that he's green, we aren't racist. We just don't have a right model for it. Maybe they're colorblind and don't see colors. I'm building
Empire
on
War X devs hate huts. Confirmed.
Yeah.
Yes,
totally.
clearly the faction that becomes playable this version is the one we hate.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just so we can properly kill them.
Oh, you have a point.
All right. Once again, I'm sorry. I must apologize for the events of this stream. I never thought I'd have to make this video.
Well, this is exactly why I'm excited to write all the Mando missions for Revan's Revenge.
No. It's gonna be absolutely just horrid. I'm gonna have to mute the Discord.
I'm starting the Cathar one right now.
Oh no.
The mission where you kill the Mandalorian leader, Trav.
I expect a lot of.
I see you, Victory. I see you.
Right. So the huts, for anyone who isn't aware, are going to be playable this release. So we have at least one mission for them there. There's a few other government things that they're getting. I've already shown the Butana Hutta mechanic a while back. I was going to show off something to do with their economy, but we had enough other stuff to do, so I have left that out for now. But they are not going to be able to tax stuff. Their income is going to come from another location, which you'll also get to see in the preview playthrough of them that's coming up. But
I want to throw one thing in. I think Philo is working on a hut model, and I asked him for a 0 model, so it should be in the actual release, just for protocol.
Yeah, there's a few placeholders. I got some of the mission maps that Leo's made playing in the background right now, but I'll hop over to I think some of the other hut content. We have in this just 2 of the other ships that we hadn't shown in prior previews, because the last few convention streams like this, we kind of showed most of the hut space roster, but now there's 2 new designs that Sky's made based off of, or Sky and T78, I believe, for the one of them. 78 here?
Yeah, that's me.
The DHC based
The
one
DHC.
was.
No, hold on. Legally, we are not alleging that the huts are basing their ship designs off of other galactic corporations, Nolan. So
it's totally legally distinct.
Yes.
But this
look at us fans.
The
they have fans, yeah.
So this one is T78 for the design and model, and Sky has done the texture.
And then Tempest is one of the official hut ship classes, and that we're the only mod which has it is rather telling. The amount of effort people usually put into the faction.
When do we get the hut invincible? Oh, sorry, I didn't want to reveal it now.
Well, so the huts do have a few designs that are loosely inspired by stuff that other factions had made, like the Urikian frigate, and so some of these come in through certain hut mechanics for how they progress, like the influence changes that I was talking, or the sub-faction changes I was talking about with the other factions, like the Hapens, CIS, and Republic. Part of that was done when it was, because I was setting up some of the new stuff for the huts, where the huts have 2 different paths that they're able to go down. They are able to do them simultaneously, so they're not mutually exclusive paths. They have the criminal elements that they can kind of support. You get that by doing stuff related to the other economic activity that I alluded to, and certain missions will be coming from the criminal elements or the Hut Empire path, so you'll be helping either Khajiitics or criminal elements of those same Khajiitics, I guess, and gaining either points towards that criminal tree or the Empire tree is what we're calling it. And in Fall of the Republic, for example, the criminal tree is what leads you towards having the Shadow Collective stuff happen. So that's how you get Maul and all the stuff related to the Shadow Collective. In Thrawn's Revenge, that path brings you down towards Durga and the Darksaber. For both mods, going down the Empire tree gets you some other new ship designs as the Hutts kind of mobilize more. The way that you go through that, aside from any missions that'll give you some points towards the Empire tree, is when you send ships to Butana Hutta to build up your defensive fleets. That'll also give you some of the points, and that's how you get towards some of the designs that are either in Fall of the Republic. In Fall of the Republic, you're moving towards some of the designs that were introduced closer to the Empire period canonically. So that's like the Cossack. In Thrawn's Revenge, you're getting towards some of the ships that were introduced in my favorite Star Wars picture, the Essential Guide to Warfare Hutt fleet that kind of came about after they got their asses handed to them in the Yuzon Vong War, and when they started to be active as kind of an active galactic military in the Second Galactic Civil War as well. So you got some of those in Fall of the Republic as well, but it's kind of each section will bring you towards different hero options, different ship options, and the Hutts are probably launching with some of the most content in either mod and some of the most progression options. So it should be a fun faction for everyone to play around with. We're getting very close to having the initial content set up. Anyone like Hutts
Also,
out there?
the render might make it not super clear. The Tempest is around 900 meters, not 600. It just is a very DHC-ish brick shape.
Yeah, so I know there's a lot of fans of the book Scourge out there. Everyone's read Scourge. Big popular Star Wars novel. So I'm sure the Tempest and Mika will be, or Papara. Everyone's just gonna love that kind of stuff.
I will not stand for this slander.
It's not slander.
It's basically just fan service.
Like the fact that you can't take
Really?
me saying that people like the book seriously, Keelhaul. That's not on me.
He got you there.
Yeah.
It's okay. The young Han Solo trilogy is the true Hutt influencer.
Cope.
Well, we'll probably move on to some of the infantry as well, because there's a lot of Hutt content in that section that Philo has been working on, along with a bunch of other infantry from Sky as well. And I think there might be some from other people. I forget what's actually in this, but this one was just finished today. So Philo, I think, said he was one of the 12 of us that's sick today, so I won't be asking him to... No. Okay, and this is Steve the Trucker. Steve the Trucker is our favorite new unit. So Antarian Rangers are like an auxiliary unit for Jedi, basically. They were a different group that was like worked under the Jedi before all the Jedi went and died. But they are canon.
And then again when there's more Jedi.
The fun thing is that it's just a bunch of rich people bought out an entire like paramilitary group to help the Jedi.
And outfitted them entirely in Carhartts.
Lee with those uniforms, yes.
Poor animals.
The best that the Outer Rim can afford. Actually, Mid-Rim.
So there will be a lot of other species in the Hutt infantry, but there are still Hutts out there, depending on the period especially, who are going to be doing their own fighting. So you'll see a good mix of different infantry types with the Hutts.
Are the Hutts infantry or light vehicles?
Depends on which one. Some of the shell Hutts get pretty big.
Hell yeah!
Blurs.
Okay, now we just wait for someone to say, I thought this was a Legends mod, and then we can smack them down with the, I guess you aren't an EaWX fan. So.
Yeah, they're from the EaWX Adventure.
Yeah.
The little blue and red one, though, is based on my pet from SWOTOR. I specifically asked for him, and Philoraptor was like, okay. And I was like, yes!
What an origin story.
So the Blurg are, of course, the most important of the different militia types that we'll be working on in the future, because they're very sentient, very intelligent. But that is something that hopefully will be more of a 0.5 thing. It's not a 0.4 thing.
Well, Also, just map critters.
Yeah.
Like we have banthas.
Okay,
Yeah.
the blurg thing was a joke, but
But don't forget the
I saw
blurg
people asking
faction
about
coming
Revan.
in 0.6.
Don't
I mean,
fucking.
the question
What
is
can we
right now-
not spoil?
Oh god, I'm sorry.
Okay, more.
Oh god.
Okay, you're muted.
Oh.
Oh, but for the Avitha, so Cameron, who has done a few concepts for the Avithan ground stuff. So we have some new vehicle designs as well as new infantry designs, and then Sky went through and did some new models for them. So we're not just using my Kit Bash Chlornum. What species were they even in base game? They weren't Klatooinian.
I think they were kind of meant to be Nikto, but it was never really well done.
Yeah, so my poor Kit Bashes are gone. The Avitha will be getting normal infantry, and they will be coming back as a playable faction in the future. They're working their way back towards that. But
so when I made the Neon Twilight map, I basically made it in 6 hours, and I kind of loosely based it on this could be Alon, the planet. That'd be cool. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, Alon has a bunch of mercenaries. Well,
Alon
that'll
is
never
super
happen.
cool.
And now we have Alon mercenaries, so that's cool.
I mean, with me existing, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah, they're quite popular.
I had never even heard of them when I looked them up, so I was just like,
Big fan.
this won't happen. But hey, I made the planet. What'd you do?
you didn't make a
They're
planet,
funny
you made a
because,
map.
they're a great thing to pull out when somebody actually gets serious about sticking to the 3 million clones things. It's like, oh, so we should remove clones from the mod because there's a mercenary group with 1 billion infantry that the Republic has. So, this is clearly significantly more relevant, and we should just remove clones.
I agree with this take.
This is perfectly logical. Yeah.
So,
You get this one type
I
of
like
infantry.
this.
Certain
mercenary.
authors are seething right now.
Do it. Do it.
Star Wars has a very consistent take on stealth.
Do it.
I love that you can see the Swotor influence on the hut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, it looks
Quite
a ton
cute.
like the ones from that.
I hate YouTube's chat stuff. Can I please? There we go.
Corey hates YouTube comments. You heard it here.
I hate that it covers the little reaction button covers the action button in the.
It does, yeah.
It's
I don't
so
know
dumb.
why.
You can click on the rest of the message, but then why have the dots there? Why bait me with them?
Yeah.
But yeah, so there'll continue to be a bunch of different infantry types that are implemented in whether future militia systems, influence units, field bases, all that kind of stuff, capturables. So there's a lot of areas for the unique denizens of the galaxy to show up, and that'll continue to get fleshed out a bit more and have a bit more systematic focus in the future. And since I did mention concept art as well, I should mention the little hollow art that you've been seeing cycling through in the bottom left corner. These are some of the character art that's being used for different holograms for different factions that were commissioned by Lord Zeiser and made by Augustine Gayer. So those exist for basically every faction in Thrawn's Revenge. There's at least a couple that are going to be made for each faction, just so you can get better introductions for missions, for Galactic Conquest intros. There are a bunch that were shown in the prior streams, but there's also a whole new collection of them in there if you've been paying attention. So make sure to direct your gaze to the bottom left of the screen for parts of the stream as well. And
Someone asked about the Zim war droids.
Oh.
Yes.
Basically, Zim the Despot fought the Hutts with war droids, lost, and the Hutts kept the droids as decorations for years, and so they basically became part of their
culture,
war economy, whatever you want to call it.
Years is also a little bit of a simplification.
Thousands of years.
Yeah.
Tens of
thousands. Yeah.
They're still good. They're just.
There are also some like there are also some derelict ones hanging about. So like Taiwanese cluster maps can justifiably include them. Yeah, exactly.
So I think we'll hop over to another mission preview, and then we will talk about some Empire of the Hand stuff. So don't change that bat channel. No, that's not right.
It's the same room.
So, Leo, any insight you want to give to what we just saw?
Yeah. This is a mission based on the Battle of Prezatlan from the horrible novel Jedi Trial. I mean, it's really not that good of a novel, but it now has a mission, and I really don't know why, because it took ages to do, and I regret it deeply. But hey,
Great.
yay.
Really selling it there.
I'm trying to be honest with the audience.
I'm so
as a
hyped now.
byproduct, we got all those we got the crucifixion props. So like,
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Pardon?
That sounds like a really good stealth pitch.
Let's not get too far into this. That was like
Let's
the whole.
let's redo that skit
VC.
live, just minus the crucified bodies.
To be fair, it's Nolan's fault. He did it, so all the blame goes to Nolan.
Well, it also
Blame
does show
it was a request.
the new.
I'm willing to do gory props in a game that has people being melted or turning into charred skeletons in the base game.
I mean, they did re-add the Rancors
Rancor
eating
eating
people
people.
after I made that video about it, and then people started bringing it up. So
it's your fault, Corey.
it kind
Good
of is
that's it.
actually, but
Okay, all the blame goes to Corey. Can everyone type the chat room, Corey?
credit. Thank you. But
two sides of the same coin.
We do have a new Jedi added to the command staff in there that has cameoed in the ongoing playthrough as well. But Nisha Halcyon is now joining the fight. If this was Super Smash Brothers, we'd have a nice little animation of him popping up on screen or something. But he's new. He's there, so you can use him in a few places. But
I will tell later a bit more, because Vic and I have been cooking some things up for Prezatlan and its appearances, but it's technically a two-part mission, and Corey just showed the second part. The first part will come later, so then we will talk about it.
All right. Well, this is what happens when I'm sent a pile of stuff and nothing is labeled.
Yeah, okay. I take the blame this time. Next time
it's
it's your
correct in
turn.
saying this is probably the only visual depiction of this battle that's ever been done that isn't just the book cover, which is just a bunch of pictures photoshopped together.
Yeah.
No, because there's the one article.
Oh,
Oh, right.
There's an,
staff
of
meeting.
course, there's an article.
There's always an article.
You're
One
welcome.
argument.
But I guess we'll
Screw you,
move
Nolan.
to another of the battle mode menu things. There are some changes to instant action. Rhino, if you want to talk about this as well.
Oh, I mean, this was mainly me bugging Leo to do stuff. The first one is, well, you start with an asteroid, but if the video plays, yeah, there's a
It is
planet,
playing.
and you can swap the model now. So you can change what map you have, and there's not going to be, again, it cleans up that menu, because with survival there would have been a bunch of duplicate stuff. So, and then
I do want to keep the different factions having a different nature set, because that's the other thing that changes that's kind of useful. We can't really change in the battle as much.
We can change the nature sets. I just was too lazy to add that comment line.
Does it
function?
Is there an event or a Lua function that changes between the environments on the map, or
Yes.
does that change the
stack of
Skydome
little
properly
pencils
as well?
That it doesn't, but we can spawn new skydomes. That's how we do it on the main menu, basically. Because it's technically also just one map where we just spawn always new stuff because Rhino complained.
no, I didn't complain. EAW's camera work is terrible.
That
you
is
complained
true.
about it.
So, well, okay, fine, yeah, but and also, I don't know when it got added, but it's something people have been asking, just a reset of that mode.
Oh yeah.
So it just reloads the whole map.
I mean, tactical saves do work better now, so that's also an option.
Yeah, sure. It's a nice quality of life improvements for the mode.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not saying that shouldn't have been done, just that if people want to set stuff up and then save before they start the fighting, that's a thing you can try now more reliably. But having the ability to clear the map is better.
Yeah, I mean, I trust EW saves as far as I can throw them, which isn't very far, so...
I would
wow,
never
you can
throw a
send it
save.
in an email across the planet, though, so that must be really short.
Look, if anyone's going to be mad at EAW saves right now, it's going to be me, and if I can move past that, then I feel like we should all give him another chance.
How did the Sith playthrough go?
No comment.
I'm not even talking, like, not even just the playthrough, the troubleshooting of that. I think I lost a lot of hair.
Oh.
Oh, that's why we don't do camera today.
Oh man. The thing that annoys me with it is that what it ended up being, and I'm not blaming anyone for this, for the original bug, but no, seriously, Nord, who the fuck, NordVPN, we've all done it before. What frustrated me about it is that I looked at that file, I considered that as like the first possible cause of it, and then was like, no, and moved on. Because I think there were two that happened at the same time. So there was the other one that was fixed, but that one was still there when I tried the thing to fix the other bug that remained. So that's why it didn't. That's why it took 2 months instead of an afternoon, and I hate it.
I think your breaking point was when you found the Gerho map, and you're like, "Oh, I don't think I've seen this map before." I was like, and I was in the chat, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I think I finished it 5 days ago." And you're just like, "Oh."
Oh, but what a way to spend November.
Well, at
And
least
October,
you found it.
and
I
September.
mean, it's still better than my November, so you're good.
Well,
Story time?
No, just sick. Persistently.
Oh, poor Nolan. I hope you're better soon.
he passed it on to everyone else.
One for the team.
Do we want to take a poll right now of like everyone that's currently sick? Because we've established at least 3 on stream so far, right?
I feel this would make sense, yeah.
Me.
This is a great use of our time. Let's do it.
Me.
So we got Bob, Keelhaul, Philo,
Ranger
Ranger.
sick as well.
We're all just going to be sick after this now, too.
Yeah.
All right, so
What most people don't realize is that we're actually in a room together for this, so we're really making each other sick.
well, the concern is that Bob was in my basement a week ago, so it's not in a weird way. Just he was visiting.
Without context,
latest
that
virus
sounds a bit weird.
Actually,
Yeah, you ended that before we
transmits-
could make the coder farm jokes, so, you know, good on you.
It's not weird. He was just visiting.
Are you saying we got a computer virus?
My only comment
Yes.
is that
Oh.
Corey's bookcase hides a lot of sins.
I thought you were going to say something about my chair being at a 45-degree angle, but
I mean, yeah, Corey's webcam pointing, above his shoulders also hides a lot of sins.
All right, so I did promise Empire of the Hand stuff. It had been months or years, releases and releases of saying we're hoping to get to the Empire of the Hand next release for their ground reworks, because their ground stuff has needed to be redone for a while. And this time, when I say next release is in 0.5, it's not coming in 0.4. The stuff you're seeing will not be in 0.4. It will be in 0.5. So we have a bunch of new Empire of the Hand ground vehicles and Chiss ground vehicles in... Did I not add them to the fucking... Oh my god. I didn't add the video. We'll get there in a second. But
We got
here we
technical
go.
problems.
No. There.
Please hold.
So these are the Empire of the Hand ground designs that Oz has been working on. There's been no textures yet, but that'll happen between now and 0.5 releasing, because 0.5 for new unit focus, Empire of the Hand, and Chiss ground is top of the list. Huts are getting the focus right now. We're going to be going into 0.5 with basically the full Empire of the Hand ground roster done, vehicle-wise at least, and they'll be able to finally shine. So after we go through the Empire of the Hand ones here, we'll open up the Chiss ones, and Oz, if your mic is working, if there's anything you want to say?
Yeah, what we basically did since the Empire of the Hand ships, ground vehicles, are mostly a mix between Imperial and Chiss stuff. I did first the Chiss vehicles, and then basically put some Imperial stuff on it, so it looks a little bit like, yeah, it could be from the Imperials, but not really.
Yeah, so there's like the space stuff. It's grouped into different groups. So there's like the pure Chiss, mix of Chiss and Imperial, more Imperial stuff, and there's also the kind of native to the unknown region stuff, which I don't know if the renders for any of those are in here, but there are a couple tanks that they have from that source.
Yeah, the native vehicles, they are not done yet. That's something I will do later.
Yeah, so there's the deploy animation for one of the gunships. So the Chiss and Empire of the Hand stuff, well, they have a little bit of overlap. There are, like, the biggest source of overlap for them is actually different variants of the same unit within them. So it's not going to be the same experience playing both factions.
Similar deal to how we've done pretty much all the other ground rosters, where even if there are some related designs, it's not like we're just sticking the same units in multiple places.
Mhm.
Yeah, you did a really good job on these.
Yeah, they look really nice.
Which, less for me to say, seeing them before, but they're good. It'll be fun to stat them. They look good.
Something? I don't think there was anything. Okay, we'll go over to the Chiss now. And yeah, so...
Oh, to answer a question in chat, the LAAT LE gunships aren't really something we do for GIS or OTH. What those would probably be mostly used as, if ever done, would be for like the capturable pads in tactical battles. Or, maybe Canon Imperial Reign roster stuff, which hard to say how that shapes up anyways. That's not a promise, that's a possibility.
I think this cycle we did get a LAD capturable.
Which really shouldn't be used too much. Just because we tried to avoid the full pop gunships for that. Looking at,
I mean, I know it's on Camino.
yeah, well, that's like the one situation where it's fine. I might adjust that too, or poke Rhino. If we want to do a capturable one, it should be the version without the side turrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a version from one of the landing mission animations. So.
The ladders.
Yeah, it's not hard to do either. Yeah, just kill mesh.
Yeah, so the
fancy animation.
The Empire of the Hand stuff in particular is missing a couple vehicles that are walkers, because there are going to be a few Empire of the Hand walkers. And that's something that I think Philoraptor is probably going to be focusing on in 0.5. So hopefully we'll have a bit more to show from them. But 0.5 will have the ground rosters for the Empire of the Hand and the Chiss that are being done. And yeah, Philo and I are going to be doing the textures for these as well. So there will be good stuff coming for them finally. They're also getting some of the space units for the kind of the native groups as well. Those models have been done for a while. They just need some textures, and then we'll be able to work on getting them implemented. So the Empire of the Hand stuff that wasn't redone in the prior reworks will be finished, and they'll get some other attention to their stats as well to clean up some of the rough edges there. They've been through a lot with their hero roster too, where there have been some of the fanon stuff that we've had to make up to fill gaps has been removed and replaced with other like Imperial characters or characters from the Chiss Ascendancy. There are also some characters that were canon, but then people got them mistaken with other fanon characters we made up, and those got removed, so they'll get
one. And it's not like they were short on infantry heroes anyways. They have 11.
One too much.
Ashik
I
will be
have
back.
literally no idea what you're on about.
Ashik erasure.
I don't know what happened.
He's more relevant later anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I had no fucking idea what everyone was talking about with the Corey jump scare, and then I went back through and realized it's the version of the video with me in the in the lander. It's like I switched over from the Empire of the Hand to the Chiss thing. Like, oh, was there like just a picture of me that made it into the animation rotation? So I need to get this out of here. But there we go.
The turbo tank looks really nice.
I know. It truly is a land ship, and it's glorious.
Yeah, even with what's here, like, there's enough for a playable roster, and pretty much every faction in TR, I'm going to clarify, FOTR does really not need more, still has like a few ground things that we wouldn't mind adding over time. So them having some future content is a good thing also.
To answer a chat question, the patrol ship that appears in Rebels will likely more be a Imperial Cannon thing for IR and not be in TR, because it's mostly a police ship in Legends. The LAD ripoff.
And I guess with IR coming up, I should say there won't be anything else to see for IR right now. Once Revan's Revenge is out, I'm going to work more directly on that. Because again, Imperial Reign right now is mostly just a collection of different ideas I've had that I've implemented to different states of usability. It's mostly just a few, like a collection of... If you ever like, it's the Always Sunny gif of Charlie with the board. That's my internet's dead. My internet's not dead. Did someone fucking kick me?
As long as it's not streaming.
Did one of you kick me from the thing?
What? Did someone kick Corey?
I don't.
Boss move. I didn't.
What happened?
We have boost powers.
What the hell?
I
Man
thought my internet
overboard.
died, but then I looked like nothing else disconnected.
no.
Just me from Discord.
It was Oz. Oz
It was
accidentally
Oz.
kicked you.
Wow.
Oh no.
How are you
We'll
allowed
now
to do
transition
this?
to a game of Among Us.
Oh my god.
Mutiny.
Wait, did Oz pick me and then run?
What a bitch!
Did he leave the server again?
Oh,
That's how the revolution starts.
Oh, he's online.
I mean, I might have too.
I mean, that is going on.
he's still on.
Oh my god, the auto-log does say it's him.
Autolog doesn't lie.
Okay, I do have a question. Quick.
Yeah.
In the
Also-
bottom left, there's a texture or an image of a guy with Wolverine hair. Who is he?
With Wolverine hair? When?
Oh, that's
He-
Daklamby or whatever his name is, the Corellian leader before
The Corellian.
Soul Silo.
Oh,
Sal
yeah,
Solo,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
He's right after
That was
the
Gallenby.
wizard guy and one of the Grand Admirals.
I'm pretty sure it's Gallenby, yeah. Hold on. I'll upload it in
Yeah,
the team chat and then you can say if it's the right
It's
one. or
from
not.
Galaxies, which explains the hair.
But we've also got the last set of maps, I think, going through right now. Victories. If there's anything you want to
those
say
are
about
mine.
the.
Oh yeah, I can talk about a couple.
Do you want to start streaming again?
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, no, if I'm just gonna get fucking yeeted from the.
Okay. Oh yeah, so this one that you're seeing now is Rifflor, and this one was kind of. It's really fun because it's a planet that. It shows up very briefly in the Republic comics, but it was always one of my favorites as a kid because I read about it in the old SWOTOR campaign guide. And like the idea of like the species and like these cities that are like constantly crumbling down and they've just like collectively kind of given up on repairing stuff. It was really neat. So that one was fun. And then a few of the others here, I'm really just trying to do a couple just like planets here and there. Like this one is kind of just meant for any Ecumenopoly planets. Oh. And then yeah. So there's a couple things here and there. Oh. Where did the stream go? Oh. And then but yeah, I'm just trying to get done some of these planets that kind of fit that niche of like they're not quite like conventional city worlds, but they're kind of like the urbanized ones, and it's nice to have just like maps to plug and play in that kind of niche. So I got Abheen here. And then this is one for one of the missions that Leo kind of alluded to before when he was talking about the stuff with a Jedi Trial. But hopefully we'll talk about that one a little bit later on. But yeah.
We need more floating refineries, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a nice map type, and I can clean up like props to use it basically anywhere.
Hopefully one day we.
And then
we-
Cathar. This will have a mission associated with it. And well, if you know, you know.
Right. Are there anything in Leo or Keelhaul, either of your maps that you want to jump back to? Since they've gone through, but I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add on yours as well.
I think Keelhaul likely has more to say. I mean, my Camino map was already shown, and my maps often come with a mission attached, so they are presented there. And I don't think I did many maps this cycle. Mental.
I guess I could talk about Bormter. It's not a ton to say. It's actually basically in 0.3, Bormter is using the map called Dragonstar. It basically edited it, expanded it, and made it much, much bigger, and added some hostile infantry to it. And the idea there is that the Bormterans, who Delurin recruits, will eventually be there. So it's a map that's actually unique to the planet, even though there's nothing super unique about it yet. Eventually it'll have little lizard guys running around. So
yeah,
that'll be fun. Shri is basically the principle of making water way below the playing area, taken to the extreme. It's like Camino in that sense. Actually, Leo started Camino, and he had it with the giant dips, and I basically told him do it like this, and I showed him how. And so Camino is going to play better, like even if we ignore the gameplay, like layout stuff, it's going to play better than the base game just by the fact that it's better designed because of the whole invisible thing I figured out how to do. And
it's so useful.
Basically, Shri is like the extreme version of that I'm never doing again. Gurho was a very simple map. It was actually going to be a tutorial. But then I gave up halfway through and just turned it into Gurho. The key, I did a video on it. It's worth watching if you want. Volpter, I only show like the bottom alleys, but the map is actually pretty huge. And I streamed the whole thing, but it's a pretty huge map. It was meant to be skirmish, but I haven't figured out how to code things into skirmish, and I just don't want to care. So it hasn't been, so now it's a GC only map, even though it's for skirmish originally. That might change, I don't know. The Gaslands is just cool. I set something as my background once by accident, I was so annoyed. I put the Gaslands as my background, I've kept it since because it just looks cool. Like, that's all I can say about it. It just looks so cool. Golden Temple, you know about the smog. I was actually writing a music video for that map, and it would have been done by now, but I can't sing, and I haven't been able to sing for over a week, so...
Okay, you gotta explain that part again. You were writing a music video?
Remember the one from last time?
Are you familiar with the song It's Tough to Be a God?
Oh no.
It's tough to make a mod.
Oh.
Except like instead of being like about being a sham of a god and a fake god, it's about making golden temples out of smog and being a sham. I was thinking about singing it in Obi-Wan Anakin's voice, but I don't think I could pull off Obi-Wan. I actually can pull off Anakin's voice from some of the cartoons, though. Moderately well. Sort of.
Sounds better when you're not sick.
It sounds better when I'm not sick. Belgoroth and Mendig, I did a video on. It's pretty cool. Go watch it. Verdant Crater, I did a video on. I did just release a video on Pana Prime and Quirmiria. And Cymirth, I am currently streaming. It's very cool. Definitely one of my biggest maps. In fact, it is probably the biggest map ever made in terms of like vertical variation because I literally reached the top point you can reach with terrain verticality.
That sounds kind of interesting.
Oh, you mean with 1,500?
Yeah, because if I keep going, it loops around.
Yeah.
And it becomes...
I did it for Wayland once and also moved down the ground to minus 1,000, so you actually had 1,500 elevation on the Wayland map.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
That really helps when I'm trying to make a map review. That doesn't mess anything up.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine. Anyway, Cymirth I've definitely been working on Cymirth much longer than any of the others, except Gobindi. I did work on Gobindi a very long time. But thankfully, Cymirth should be the kind of map that, like, if I scrap the whole inside, I will have a really good outside that I can reuse and repurpose into another map very easily. But it's taking forever.
Mm-hmm.
I've made like 3 small maps in the time I've been working on Cymirth. And that's probably it for me.
All right, well...
Sometimes mapping is just like that.
Yeah.
We'll jump into some previews of some sound effects and unit VO that NMS has been working on implementing over the last little while, and then after that there will be the first of the Revan's Revenge cutscenes. We'll come back and talk a bit about some of what's being added there. So see you soon.
This is Grand General Brashin. Very good, carry on.
Yes. Whatever you need. They're on their way, sir.
This is General Ashen. The elite force at your command.
TRMB online. This is General Tanter. Well then, we'd better get to work right away.
Taskeen here. This is General Taskeen of the Rebel Alliance. You're late, General.
Stormtrooper reporting. Your command, sir?
I've got it.
Time to get paid. All right. I've got more for you.
I am now the ultimate power in the universe.
Ready to commence.
Gibis molera.
Ready and able, sir.
Dolci numeros runta.
We are active.
Flame on.
Reporting in.
We're with you, sir.
Attack tank has entered the battlefield.
Troop carrier, here, sir. I've got a clear channel.
Give me a task.
My liege?
Hover tank ready for service. Ready to deploy artillery, sir.
We're back. So if we want to start NMS, if you want to talk a little bit about some of the sounds everyone was just hearing.
Sure. So just a lot of the VO stuff is a mix of game audio and a little bit of original audio. The Hapen Royal Guard VO is from Ashley Hayes, who submitted a great audition there in the Corey Loses chat. And this is an opportunity to actually also shill that if you do want to submit an audition and you're confident about your skills, and for any unit and any of the mods, preferably Revan right now, the Corey Loses Discord does a voiceover channel. And I'll try and contact you if you do an audition, give you feedback, and if think it's good, or I can give you advice or pointers and what to improve on. Just that's open there. Otherwise, there's game audio from things like Force Commander. Thanks to people like Alexi for helping me a bunch with that. And as well, you probably hear some remixed audio from both Empire at War and other games. You see the Blaze Troopers from the Revenge of the Sith game, and the Dark Stormtroopers. Thanks to Nolan there for he did a great remix of that. I did a little bit with the base game Stormtrooper lines. You have the sort of like distorted, pitched down Stormtrooper audio for it. It really sells like the messed up cyborg Stormtrooper sound, I feel. And yeah, hopefully it'll improve the immersion for the average battle, especially on ground, quite a bit in TR, because TR had a lot of issue with reused audio or misplaced already. So hopefully it'll work, as George Lucas once said.
It should help infantry feel different psychologically when you have 5 types using 5 different VO sets instead of 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we couldn't get to that, but there will be some better battlefield SFX as well. When especially for different blasters, help the infantry stand out more. So
but we can let people experience that.
Yes, hope people will enjoy that when it comes.
One comment on the voiceover stuff: if you want to do that but don't want to do a script, something that historically has been recommended by people such as Bob is to take a look at the base game audio lines, just move some of those around and use those scripts with like 1 or 2 changes.
You don't need to write like a huge script, just like do basic samplers of lines, or just reference that and something like attacking or whatever. You don't need to like make the big. Don't need to write Shakespeare or whatever. Just need to write something simple and concise.
Yeah, it's hard to really get across in a context like this, but if you're watching Corey's playthroughs, you're going to start hearing more variety in, like NMS said, the ground sound effects, and it just absolutely changes the game. It's amazing.
Oh, I know, it's so nice. Like,
well, thank you quite a bit. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the team for having me here today and helping out with the mod.
Would anyone like to say they appreciate NMS?
Yes. No, we appreciate you
Don't
too,
lie.
NMS.
I know you're all liars.
You're tolerable.
What the fuck?
But yeah,
NMS, I would never lie to you. I hate
I
you.
don't think anyone's ever accused me of lying on this team.
Before we get into more of the Revenge discussion, there was a comment about not being able to read the red in the mission text. So one of the things there with like red projectiles and red text is that it's always going to look much worse on a video or a stream than it does in game. So the video compression is a big factor in that. So don't worry about it too much. And then if you still have an issue with it in game, then let us know and we'll take that kind of feedback into account. But just keep that in mind when watching videos for anything, really. But we do have some of the assets that are in the works for Revan's Revenge playing through here. But Leo, again, if you want to talk about what people just saw at Forest.
Oh yeah, the Battle of Forest is technically a kickoff for the Jedi Civil War, where Revan and Malak announced their new intentions, and NMS and I had this huge problem that we realized that the entire timeline there is completely dumb, because everyone is supposed to play traitor and immediately join Revan, but also wait 1 year until they do it. And we also had a bit of a problem making Revan not sound totally cringe, because, like, just imagine the scene. He arrives and is like, "I'm making my own faction. Who wants to join me?" And it was.
We all do.
I mean, it sounds like a Simpsons scene.
It does.
No, here's what it is. It's Bender saying, "I'll make my own faction with blackjack, hookers."
Yes, exactly. And
yeah,
this was a bit of a problem there.
The way you do it is you phrase it as the Republic is weak and it needs to be torn down. Only we have the strength to do it. We who have been hardened by the hardships of war. We can make the Republic better. Join me and we will overthrow them together.
With blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
I think that's basically the
Just
result.
throw in more anti-Mandalorian stuff. I can help you write it.
Yeah, we know your Mando racism.
Oh, don't worry.
That actually kind of sounds racist to say. Like, I don't like saying that.
Thank you, Justin.
All right, so we got
laughter is a great part of microphones.
We got the other assets that are coming through. So Rhino has done the the tech trees for the Revan's Revenge factions with the assets they have currently. There's still 1 or 2 space units that are being worked on for each faction, but the stations are kind of the big set of assets that are being finished right now to be used in the first release. T78 has done a bunch of the models. One of them is showing right now. And Bob has started texturing them too. So the way it's going to work in the way it's going to work in the first release is they're probably all going to share one station set, like all the factions, just so we can have a like a period relevant set of stations. And then over time, like when we get into the next release, we'll be trying to get the unique factional star bases done on top of expanding some of the rosters. So the primary content for Revan's Revenge is finished. The maps are one of the big things that is still to be done there, the Galactic Conquest maps, and there are a couple of the government mechanics that are still going to be worked on a little bit. So just simple stuff for the first releases. I've talked about some of it in the past. Like a quest line related to the Star Forge is one of the central things there. But yeah, anyone else want to jump in on any Revan's Revenge stuff?
Yeah, Vic and I do work already a bit on the Revan's Revenge story missions. It will likely just be Jedi Civil War and Mando Wars mostly, but in this mod it should tie more into progressive as well, because we do have some plans there. I don't know how much Corey revealed yet, so I'm not going much into this, but some things we are cooking up.
Star Forge.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Trying to remember what else.
The thing I like with the Frost stuff is like, with lots of Old Republic content, people seem to forget that there are things outside KOTOR the game that exist. So something nice about EaWX is we get to like actually include and reference all these things.
Yeah, and the fun part is KOTOR is like, in my opinion, the worst source for KOTOR era stuff, because it's the most boring one.
Also, it's just a bunch of dudes hitting each other with sticks.
They also don't want to talk about things ever. It's kind of cringe.
Well, no, the real question is how many battles of Forost we're going to stack up to by the end of this mod, because a lot of things like to make that a target.
It was just the place to be for a while.
There'll be as many Foros battles, almost as much as Coruscant Alsaican conflicts.
Nah, Coruscant will win win this.
Is that more or less than about
Probably.
Sophia or something?
Yeah, so the primary focus for basically all content is going to be between Mandalorian Wars and the Jedi Civil War. Like KOTOR 2 Dark Wars stuff is going to be more of a future concern, though we do have some heroes that are being made for it. But the progressive maps will go through all those periods. It's just there'll be less story stuff related to the later periods right now.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've covered how early GCs are going to look for that mod before anyways. So.
Yeah.
So we are heading towards the start of the beta period for at least like Fall of the Republic's going to come first, then TR and Revan's Revenge in some order, but we're getting a lot of the main stuff that is intended for 0.4 ready, and it shouldn't be too long before you get your first hands-on experience with Revan's Revenge, which doesn't mean like weeks, it still means a couple months, but we're getting there. Anything else on Revan's Revenge specifically before we jump into another mission or two and get into...
Just one comment about the last mission. Yes, there are a lot of typos. It was 2 a.m. Corey will proofread it, and we also will likely make the text stay a bit longer. Already talked about that internally, so it will be easier to read and not be as
German excuses.
attention splitting.
Work in progress be work in progress, ultimately.
Yeah.
So
would it be simple to easy to say there will be Rev Hero VO?
Yes.
If you what? Yeah, of course.
Yes, okay. So we'll have some great Kiel, play the clip again. Play the clip, Kiel.
This will be a day long remembered.
I hate you.
Damn it. Wrong clip, but okay.
All right. Well, we do have a look at some of the landers that Ron has been doing for the gunship. So they just land themselves in the middle of battles now. So,
and I can be satisfied that it's no longer just a lab.
It's very
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah,
It was a very funny discussion.
The lab was the experiment. This is the everything else. So, like with flashblinds, they've like the wings. They fold
The
out when
wings,
they
that's a
come
nice
down.
touch.
What else has moving parts? Damn it, I've forgotten.
Nemesis.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the
the
Nemesis
Nemesis engines move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is usually like a 5-minute setup and like 10 to 15 minutes of tweaking by like centimeters, just trying to get everything lined up.
I think these animations also mean that the ships can shoot while landing because it's the same rig and
Yes.
the compounds will apply.
It depends on the specific setup, but yeah, something you can go through case by case.
Yeah, it's the same rig.
I think that's a good thing if they do shoot while coming down.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
the
it's
same
definitely
thing as
intentional.
it's the same thing as the normal landers having the self-defense guns.
Yeah. I
I'm
think
still
I've
shilling for
nerfed them
Basilisk.
slightly.
I know, honestly.
So,
Very cool stuff.
yeah, it's a nice little
Yeah,
thing.
it's just...
I'm still shilling for Basilisks landing themselves on Revan's Revenge.
I'll get to it. I'll get to it.
Yes.
Ooh, I just had a meta
Yes.
idea. So you know how like landers are not good at shooting down clusters of infantry? What if you laid down Gabas and then they shot their anti-infantry guns while landing? It's a new meta.
That might be
Yeah,
a
the new
nightmare
meta.
ground skirmish. Oh no.
Oh.
Well, the landers' guns are slightly nerfed. They have a bit of a higher recharge, so they're not as powerful.
Yeah, so they'd be like less good than a standard lander, which is kind of
Yeah,
good balance, I think. It's like
just pretend the pilot's focusing on landing and isn't really focused on shooting
They're
things.
generally some of the best units anyway, so
we can adjust anyways and don't need to make a big deal about.
On the topic, I think the GABA is one of the only photon ones that doesn't have it. Should the GABA get it?
Some of the small airspeeders can probably just be dropped by large transports.
Yeah, because at that point you want like the snow speed
Where's
or
the
whatever.
self-landing
to do that.
INT4s?
My meta!
I don't want
Okay,
my
those I kind of want to do just because they're cute.
Yes.
But like at that point,
still await.
At that point, we may just have like stormtroopers just landing themselves.
Also, you know,
still
if
await-
anything gets updated for balance or design purposes.
Yeah.
Are those snow speeders or Deathhawks?
That's
Deathhawks.
So does this mean the troopers are gonna land themselves?
No.
So
Jetpack-Man Warriors landing.
I just want to float an idea here, and Ranger will back me up on it. So since we're
I
doing
have a
these
bad
kind of
feeling about
anime,
this.
no, you'll love this, Ranger, I promise. So with the MTV7, we should add it now and have them do a sick jump off of the corner of the map to get in.
Shouldn't that be Calcaton?
A ramp spawns, they like do a backflip.
Yeah.
I feel that's Calcaton.
I like it. I
Should
like
do
it.
I mean,
Okay, you're right. I did like that one.
I mean, without getting into things, you could have like multiple landers just building a whole arena and then just watching it just do tricks and then just pack up again.
We'll work on it. All right, so
It's doable.
We'll jump into
Okay, a bit too into detail.
We'll jump into the final two mission previews. Then we have a couple more renders, a new feature to look at, and then a couple more images. So we're getting towards the end. We'll be back here in a couple minutes with more stuff. All right, before we get into the final mission preview, I will say that there is a lot of flashing lights, so if you have any photosensitivity or anything else like that, you may want to look away. It's some lightning effects, so just heads up. All right. So those are our final mission previews. I did replay one of them because it had been... oops, I stopped the virtual camera. There we go. Now you guys can all see it again. But yeah, so I did replay the second part of the Braceletland mission because I'd gone through that at the wrong time. So now everyone got to see it in order. It's like Star Wars. We show the second part first, then we jump back, and then you got to do the marathon.
Mm-hmm. So, a good save. Yeah, what you saw here is part of the new campaign coming in 1.4. We call it Operation Nighthammer because we love bad jokes and Star Wars does too. It's centered around a region called Nighthammer, but written with an N because bad references. And this is about another reference in the Thrawn trilogy about Bibfeshi Jedi going berserk and killing lots of people during the Clone Wars, and Yoda stopped this. So we took all these references and said, let's make a GC out of it, where you got to kill a lot of Dark Jedi, and it's centered around you stopping the Dark Side ritual on Bibfeshi, and then you hunt them down on a lot of Independent Forces planets, which leads into Vic's mission. Which sure you know. Yeah.
Which is the Bespin one that was being shown off earlier with the maps, and there will be lots of cinematics. They weren't quite finished in time for this, though.
Okay, the origin of this GC is basically Keelhaul saying, "Oh, cool! Did you know about this? This could be a fun GC." And we were like, "Sure, let's take it and see how far we can roll with it." And it's actually quite fun. The problem is the placement of the timeline is a bit off because this Bibfeshi uprising is both in the Dark Times during the Clone Wars and 700 years before Episode 4 because timelines in Star Wars. I mean, do I have to say more?
What's funny
Apparently,
about
yes, considering how many people seem to think there is a consistent one for insert content piece here they don't like.
I was going to say.
What's funny about this is that I brought it up to Leo just because I heard about it in the Thrawn trilogy while listening to it on audiobook on a walk with my dogs. And then that was it for me. And then 1 month later, he's like, "Hey, your GC is coming along really well." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure."
And it's actually quite a lot of fun right now. And it does take some liberations from Jedi Trial, which is why Prezitlin appears. And
there is a mix of weird content involved in this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. About this one, we have to talk because there's like this one shitty hut planet there called Metau. So even the huts are in this dumb GC. And a few days ago, NMS said, "Oh, wouldn't it be fun if you do a Shadow Collective thing for it because they have one planet. And
Don't throw
apparently
me
you
in
talked to
this.
Nolan.
Ooh.
You
It's
and
all
Nolan
your
talked.
fault.
I know.
No. Yes, sure. I wanted to hear this.
We all love Darth Maul after all.
So you now also have a bit of a Shadow Collective connections there because you start with the assault on Mustafa, which is also in the GC, and integrate Black Sun immediately, which means you can even play as a Huts there and have some fun shenanigans, mainly because for some reason Maul actually matters for the Befashi Uprising and the Jinsari because of Pina.
Yeah. He gets
Nolan,
mentioned as like the
You're
puppet
welcome for
master.
finding that.
Did you do anything
Nolan,
with George Cardass there?
Oh.
Oh, this would be cool.
Don't inspire him
Ooh.
further, I beg you.
Why are there
Yeah,
like
we
50
totally
sources
could do
contributing into
something
this
there.
one GC? This is weird.
What
Technically,
is this GC just going to accidentally become, the full
Well, this is where we put in
50,000 BBY to 10,000 ABY GCs? That's what's going to happen here.
This is
That
where we
feels like
put in
what's
all of
happening here.
Petroglyph's sequel ideas, so this is where Silvery actually comes in, but
Well,
anyways.
Hell yeah.
My mission does sort of include Sith War Beasts, so
Oh no.
Yeah.
we're halfway to a port.
I've clearly loosened the leash on too many people for too
Well,
long.
It's over, Corey Bros.
Corey, it
This
gets,
is
it gets
fun.
worse. We also
You
made a
don't
lot of
actually play with
supernatural encounters connections.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no.
Base.
Lots of reference to it.
No.
And that's
Corey's lost
playable
control of the
Wikipedia.
team.
All right. Well, we have some other pictures going across the screen right now. So there's some backgrounds for some of the planets. There's some of the new galactic level art that is being used. I still want to go and redo the galactic map visuals because I do think it's a bit too busy and I don't want the lines to be there anymore, but I don't know. I'll get to that eventually, but now we have a bunch of different art for different planets. There's a shot from the last of the mission cinematics we saw. But there's also this from Mord, if you want to say anything there while it's on screen, or if I can drag it.
Well,
No, you
it's
can
gone.
keep talking.
Too late.
You can only talk
Oh,
while
okay.
it's actually on screen, actually.
Okay. All right. Ready? Well, anyway, when it comes around again, just I'm not going to elaborate. Just maybe pause and soak in the details because
We can wait.
There are.
There's an
Here it is.
ISD, an ISD, an IS. There's a lot of ISDs.
Yeah,
I should note that there's a difference between when the stream sees it and you see it in Corey's
Yeah.
camera.
There. Oh. It's back. It's gone. It's back.
Mord, are you looking at the Discord one, or are you looking at the
I
actual
don't
stream?
think Maud is looking at Discord.
No, I'm looking at. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Okay.
It's on
Anyways,
Discord. It's on the thing.
we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there then.
Yeah, just so
Your
there's,
update was that next
there's
time.
some things happening here, some shenanigans, some perhaps unexpected people on unexpected sides of a conflict.
Looks totally normal to me.
It appears that Revan has picked out the subtle events.
Right, and now it's gone. Okay, so
Oh no.
I guess we have two more sets of renders, so we'll jump into some of the Fall of the Republic stuff. There's one CIS unit, so I have this labeled as Fall of the Republic renders. There's like 6 or 7 Republic renders, even though they're variants on a couple units, and one CIS render. So 0.4 doesn't have the most CIS stuff. They got a lot more than people gave them credit for last release. There's still a few things to come for them in the future, but right now there's like the smaller Republic Corvettes. There's like Maelstrom and Procurator that are coming this release, and there's also a few future kind of extrapolation units that you'll see in this render as well. Mostly by, I think all by Sky for the stuff in this render set as well. So I don't know if Sky wants to say anything or type anything while they're up, but you'll see these come in different places of 0.4 for everything except for the Rathana stuff when that comes up. But does anyone have any fun stories about the Republic or appreciation they'd like to share there?
I mean, we've clarified the Corvette enough times that it should stick, but
the new LAC model is so pretty. Such a nice update.
It has a consistent lighting and shader
Yeah.
setup, which is nice. It's not gloss while the other ships are bump, like the old one was.
Here's a good view of the Maelstrom, the new model. We did show a different version of the Maelstrom before, but Sky wanted to revisit that design. So the Lost Maelstrom will never see the light of day in a release. You get this one instead.
Lost in the Maelstrom.
Be grateful for it.
And there's some bigger Rathana ships that get alluded to in some places. So some designs have been made. In no way inspired by the Acclimators, clearly.
Really?
That are kind of along those lines. So
they're based on a single line of text in the core rulebook of the Star Wars role-playing game from 2004.
Yep.
And it literally talks about Acclimators but bigger.
Yep. Hell, we probably just call the in-game ones Acclimator insert size class.
And here's the CIS one, the super tank.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
Super tank skins are cute.
Yeah. Someone is asking how to get them. They will likely just be thrown into the KDY market.
Yeah, specific handling in that not decided yet, but that's kind of why that mechanic exists.
Yeah. Do we actually stick with the name KDY market
Not
now?
once those are in, but it'll be named something else.
Actually, I don't even know. Well, Rathana's KDY anyways, so yeah.
No, I mean, like, there were other names thrown around for the market, and it's not even a market.
It's more like it'll be renamed.
Mobilization thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calling it a market is like just because that's the internal code set thing, and has kind of set some false expectations for it that I want to squash. But
Rothana is Quad, so there won't be Rothana versus Quad mechanic.
It can still be a Quad mobilization thing with everything that we have planned for it.
Yeah.
Or demonstration ship mobilization or whatever.
Contracts.
Whatever we decide to name it, mostly just affects perception.
Yeah. Basically.
Right. So most of the Fall of the Republic stuff is focused on the huts. Like that's the biggest chunk of new content in Fall of the Republic, especially for 0.4. But there are the extra things for the Republic here, and one or two other things for the CIS as well. But it's primarily hut focus for Fall of the Republic. But we'll move on now to technically a mechanic preview, but it's less about any specific mechanic. The demonstration for it that you're about to see is going to be a different way to assign fighters. So I guess there's two things to look for here, because we've only really shown the fighter assignment in a couple places. But for the hero fighters, for most of them, you're going to be able to choose another hero ship to have them spawn from in battles. So for like Rogue Squadron, for the 181st, for the fighter squadrons like that, rather than have them be weirdly interacting with hyperspace mechanics, weirdly interacting with them dying much easier, you just tell them which flagship you want them assigned to. Each one has a few different options. So you're going to see part of that, which has been in the playthrough I've been doing, where I've been using, I think it's Garvin Dreas that I have assigned to Pelion right now. But on top of that, there's another menu system here that Phil has been working on, which we're going to be able to use for a lot of different implementations of different mechanic storyline stuff. So you'll probably see a lot of it in game over the next couple releases, and it's a way that allows us to have these kinds of options without only interacting with the build bar as a way to do stuff. So you're about to see all that right now. So it's still in the I'm going to move us, but you're going to see some debug information. It's still in the kind of final implementation phases, but so Rogue Squadron has been assigned to Akbar there, I believe. So we'll see the fighters will spawn, and Rogue Squadron is going to come out of Mr. Akbar. That's disrespectful. Admiral Akbar. And so he's all there. And if we jump forward a bit for the retreat, you'll see the menu open up once again when that's been built. You're assigning Rogue Squadron, you put some on Regab. And as we go into the next battle, you'll see that Rogue Squadron will now come out of for Gab. So there's a few heroes you'll be able to do it that way, or do that with. But for the menu, which I'll go back to when we have that up, some of you may recognize what this is a repurposing of. Okay. Damn it, I was not fast enough. But yeah, so there's a few different story events, a few different other mechanics where we'll be able to just get the player to make a choice on a thing when it pops up, whether that's for optional stuff like this, whether it's for choosing your side in a story event. Yeah, so it was a very creative use of a menu that we don't use for anything else. So close. It's bounty hunting, not tech stealing, but similar idea. Yeah, so I think that's a neat way to use it that Phil's been working on. And yeah, you'll definitely see a lot more of that coming along. Okay. So with that, we have only one more set of renders to look at, which is an assortment called Other. So we have a new X-Wing fighter made by code user / Dr. Nick, who's been around on the team for the entire time. He is mostly retired, but he felt like doing some 3D art again, and our very old X-Wing has been now replaced. Then we have there's going to be a couple of sub-mod units that Oz has been working on in here as well. And I forget what else is in it, so that'll also come up. So we're kind of getting to the end here, so is there anything else that any of you want to talk about as we scroll through? No.
I was just going to say the name of the ship, but...
How will I build the Doom Giver?
Shut the fuck up.
What faction's going to get the Doom Giver?
Yeah, so Doom
You sent
Giver...
$5 to Corey.
Everything with the Empire Reborn and those enemies, they'll be sort of like a legitimacy group. But I have other slight ideas for that I haven't talked to anyone about, so we're not talking about that. And we got some fresh models for the Gladiators. Those are going to be in 0.4. Fairly recent. I don't know if they've been in... I think they actually have been in some other previews, so you might have seen them already. But here they are in glorious rotating goodness. But I think the X-Wing that X-Wing model that we had was made for Ascendancy, when Ascendancy started. So it's that old. And here we have another one of the Corellian units. This is based on some concept art from Solo, I think, for a later era Corellian ground unit. Because we're going to start getting more of the Corellian stuff in game as well. And
yeah, this is the... I forget the
Kuari
name of...
Princess?
Kuari
Thank you.
Princess.
Because you can never stop Oz's obsession with obscure Mon Calamari stuff, or every Mon Calamari
and then
thing.
this one's submod.
Barracuda.
Yeah.
Is it MC70 Oz? I know you renamed
I think
it.
it's
Barracuda?
Yeah, it's the Barracuda.
Yeah.
It is a fairly common fandom ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that stuff and the Aurora towards the start, that's for like submods, optional units, rather than core content.
And
here we have the Corellian
glorious Eggnot.
So this is another
Finally
late era
revealed.
Corellian Dreadnought. Which
TRSC.
There we go. Which is a advanced factory unit for Zinj.
Best unit.
I'm
Love
really
it.
hoping I didn't.
So cute.
I'm 99.99% sure that's what we used it for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
The funny thing for the X-Wing is like the new model is really good, but the old one was still like probably one of the top 10% of fighter models that we had in TR anyways. So
yeah, but sometimes as a 3D modeler, you just want to make an X-Wing. Sometimes you just make an X-Wing.
That's fair.
There's an urge.
Most people aren't rigged like me, where it's like, why would I do the thing that 50,000 other people have done instead of the thing that 2 people or no people have done?
Well,
and
did
this
you ever
one's
eat a
We've
donut?
got plenty of that here, Nolan.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of that here.
Sometimes you just want to eat a donut and not the one
Yeah.
obscure dish you haven't ever eaten.
I think the Iriadu Authority should get the Doom Giver because that's the faction I play.
Yeah, no. It should obviously be Greater Meldrude.
Yeah, that the two ships
something
you
for
go was not the
gladiators.
turbulent.
The Gladiator 1 is based on droids and FFG's depiction, and the Gladiator 2 is based on the Force Unleashed 2 Camino cutscene version, which lines up with the specific ships in use that we see depicted. So it's a nice distinction.
The Doomgiver tubes look like Coca-Cola bottles.
Yeah. Fair.
Is that
Yeah,
what
it's
fire's dropping?
it's not the turbulent, it's the Aurora. It's a subtle thing. Just clarifying that.
It's modelers having fun. That's
Yeah. And I also did the textures for Tom's and Oz's are different, so. And it's a different model as well. Tom's was something that was thrown in Oz's Google Drive.
Yeah.
And then he updated it, I think.
Is it an icon on the side, or what's the blue thing?
It's a Mon Murray icon.
Oh,
the
cute.
Princess is, despite the shape, like 500 meters.
Yeah.
So it's fairly small. It shows
It's
up in
smaller.
all the Core Saga mods. It's just a nice, like we have the civilian Moncal ships. Prior, it's like them, just a smaller thing.
Yeah, you do have an outdated model. Wait, you said, hey, the stuff in the Google Drive, and I was like, yeah. I was like, hey, the one we have is different. Slightly.
All right. Well, I think that's actually going to do it for the holiday celebration stream. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for watching. It's been a good year for the mod. Next year will continue to be a good year for the mod, and every year will always be a good year. And that the state of the mod is strong, or whatever we were supposed to say. Something.
Not
Any?
gonna do other maps. Or is that don't have enough time?
Any closing thoughts from anyone?
Other maps.
Rhino is asking about
No.
the maps he just linked and never actually posted. So he kinda
I'm
failed
only
there.
looking at the opened chat. So I don't know.
Awesome.
I am hard, Lord.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now, actually.
Are you being serious, or are you just messing?
I have no idea what you're talking.
What do you mean?
The FTGU maps.
Where did you
People
post
play
them?
this? Rhino
I can't
just
tell if
posted-
you're messing with me or not.
Rhino just posted a link in the channel, but didn't actually post the stuff. So
It's
the Google Drive one?
It's the Google Drive because Discord complained that it was too large.
Then no, I don't have those downloaded.
That's fine. I'll just throw it in Admiral's previous.
All right. Well, see, there's
That's what
already
it's
more
for.
for people to look at.
Oh well.
I mean, this is what happens when you post stuff like as the stream is going. Corey needs.
I didn't. It was like yesterday or the day before.
Disaster stream incoming.
I would just like everyone to know that I post the call for this stuff. I posted it November 18th this year. And
It wasn't ready in November.
And there was at 2:05 talk of I'll get that to you soon. So I mean, there only so much I can do. But yeah, that's way too big for me to be able to download and then edit into this right now.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. I'll just throw it in.
Right. So that's a reason for people to join the Discord if they're not already banned and check out the Admiral's Lounge. But I do want to thank you all once again for working on the mod. Fuck all the viewers right now. It is a lot of fun getting to spend time with people doing something incredibly pointless for as long as we have. And I continue to be impressed by the work that everyone puts in. And yeah, so just to thank all of you and hope you have a happy new year. And also the chat for that part. Chat, you have a good new year too.
It's a split-second screenshot of one of the spreadsheets. That's my work.
I mean, the streams are useful because that way Corey learns what we actually did the last few months.
Oh yeah, when he finds out, we're all in trouble.
Wait, you guys have worked this year?
So next time we do this will be the mod's 19th anniversary? 18th? 18th. No,
Oh.
19th. Fuck.
19th.
That's
Yeah, it should be
disgusting.
19th.
So wait, the mod can already drink, and
Oh,
then next
no.
it can drive certain heavy goods vehicles.
Soon it'll be
Technically,
able to rent a car.
The mod already
forgot
joined
about-
the military.
I forgot about this, but I technically did make a space skirmish map, and it's really good. But I can't figure out how to code it in, so look forward to maybe seeing that.
Throw it at Rhino.
The new map editor should make it so that we can set
Yeah.
it automatically skirmish. There was an update for it.
Mhm.
Another update.
There has been, I just want to let everyone know, there has been a subplot on the stream of me slowly realizing that Scheherazade is actually Valerie, because I've been wondering about that for a while. So I wasn't sure who it was, but now it's become slightly more clear over the course of the stream. So there we go. All right, goodbye, everyone. Now that that's figured out.
That's a plot twist.
Adios.
Bye.
Happy New Year.